there was a time where Somali, like on the newspaper, you hear it. There's always drama, whether it's pirates, whether it's like war, and that is heartbreaking. It is a part of our reality, but that's not our only reality. We are entrepreneurial. We are incredible. We have a beautiful, rich history.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new podcast episode of the Somali Circle. Today I'm joined by Abshir. Abshir is one of the co-founders of Somali in Tech, a community for Somalis in the tech space. MashaAllah, the community has grown over 4,000 tech individual in a group. MashaAllah, hosted multiple events in different countries from Dubai to London to Toronto to America. Brother, first of all, thank you for joining us on this podcast. For the listeners and the viewers of this podcast, we would love to start off from the beginning. Who are you? And then we just take it from there, inshallah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So my name is Abshir. I am a software engineer by trade, but I'm also the co-founder of Somalis in Tech. As you mentioned, it's a global community. We have last time I checked, over 4,500 people.
Wow, mashallah. It grew fast.
Which is incredible. And yeah, I think to kind of start off, to paint a picture maybe about myself, I'm first generation Somali, so like a lot of us came here due to like the civil war, so our journey didn't really start off in a really nice way. So came to the UK when I was around 3, just after the civil war kicked off. And I grew up in a place called Camden, which isn't too far from here. I'm a proud Camdenian. And I think the community spirit has always been, a part of me. Like growing up, when we came to this country, there wasn't a lot of Somalis. So we kind of all stuck together. So I grew up with knowing, pretty much everyone. Whenever someone else comes to the community, everyone's your cousin pretty much, so we'd go to each other's houses, after school, etc. So that community spirit always lived with me. And as an adolescence, we'd go to youth clubs. We had Somali run youth club in the area. We'd play like football. They'll take us swimming, and that was like a part of a normal part of my upbringing, I would say. So that always stuck with me. So as I got older, I decided to kind of explore this tech space. I didn't even know what it was, to be honest. A friend of mine introduced me to computer networking. So that was like the first introduction to, I guess, the space. And I found it really interesting. Then decided to go to university and study electronic engineering with telecoms, did a master's there, and then started off my career. And as part of my career, I noticed that it wasn't very diverse, like the tech space wasn't very diverse, unlike Camden where I grew up. Camden's like really diverse. It's like everyone from all over the world. And that's what I was used to. But the industry isn't the same. I would go to regular tech events and notice, the same thing. And that kind of was interesting, at the end of the day, we're still kind of doing our work and everything, but it'll be really nice if, the environment was really representative of London or where I kind of grew up. And then one day I was in like a cafe with a friend and he introduced me to another guy and he had his laptop out. And he was Somali as well. I said, bro, what'd you do? He said, I'm a developer, I'm an engineer. I'm like, what? That's crazy, so am I. And then we started talking. I said, you know what? You're the first other Somali engineer, developer that I've met. We need to kind of bring our community together. He was busy working. But I caught the bug, so then I kind of ran with it. I introduced the idea to a couple of friends, my cousin, who's also one of the co-founders, and he was like, yeah, great idea. And then we kind of decided to host our first event, and that was due to happen in like March 2020. And as we kind of put the event together, we had a space and everything. We tweeted about it, and it blew up. We were shocked. We were really shocked because we didn't know how big the community was. But everyone just started coming out of LinkedIn. You know, they were all hiding on LinkedIn before. But all of a sudden, everyone's there. Like, yes, alhamdulillah. And that event sold out pretty much immediately. Like within the first hour, we had to kind of increase the capacity. I had to go back to the venue, say, hey, we actually maxed out. We sold all the tickets. Can we open up more seats? They agreed. And yeah, then COVID happened, lockdown. So we had to cancel that event. But then we kind of decided to kind of go virtual, and that just kept on growing. And the pace in which it grew was crazy, you know. And right now we're working backwards. We're like, okay, we need to really organize things now properly, because we just grew at such a fast rate. But yeah, that's been the journey up until now for the community.
MashaAllah. There's a lot to unpack there. MashaAllah, like you explaining the first moment you thought, okay, you see another Somalis in a tech space, you're like, wow, there's need to be more of us community-based in tech to come together, etc. But what happened? Was it like you doing it on your own, or was it like, okay, let's try to could you go more on details about that phase of planning?
Absolutely. So no, it definitely wasn't on my own. It took a community to kind of build the community, and alhamdulillah I was able to kind of have like amazing people around me. So shout out to Muhammad Khadar, who's also my cousin. He was involved. Adam, he was also involved at the beginning. So like we came together, and we kind of decided, okay, you know what, let's go ahead. They saw the vision. They were like, yeah, we definitely need to kind of bring the people together. It'll be really nice to have like an environment where, you know, you can, you know, feel at home, you know, feel really comfortable. And it grew from that. And then after the first event, we were like, okay, we really need to expand the team. And then we brought on Faiza, shout out to Faiza as well, and Idil, and then Hamda and Marian. And there's so many people, like the team just kept on growing. Ali from Toronto, who's our UAE ambassador, and they have like an event happening at the end of the year, actually. I might actually fly out there, I don't know. But it's the community just grew. And one thing that's a testament to kind of really leaning on all those around you, and you know, there's no savior out here. You know, everyone has limitations, and it's about kind of leaning on the strengths of other people who also see the vision, and basically letting everyone kind of cook. You know, yeah.
MashaAllah, like your story is very inspiring, because there's a lot of Somalis in your generation that came from the war to Europe and have to start everything from scratch. And creating a place where Somalis can learn, grow, and share knowledge with each other, I think that's very impactful and beneficial.
Absolutely. And for a lot of us, our journey is different to like my children's journey, you know. When we came, it was like survival mode, especially for our parents. So imagine coming to like a whole new environment. You can't speak the language, you don't understand the culture. It's difficult. And growing up, as children, you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders as well. So I'll be like, you know, 7 years old, 8 years old, translating a piece of paper for my mother, you know, or you know, when you go to the doctors, you have to translate and things like that. So that was our journey. For us, it was normal. But as you get older, you realize, hold up, this isn't the normal. It isn't typical for everyone else, you know. But I think that's our superpower as well. So with life is kind of funny, right? It's balanced. You may have like some adversity, but it comes with strengths in other ways. And I think through that adversity, it kind of makes you a lot more resilient. Maybe you kind of see things in a different way. Like we never had someone to kind of look up to in that sense, because everyone was on survival mode. Now that we are, you know, successful and we understand, you know, the system, and we kind of grew up and have careers and whatever, it's our responsibility to kind of lay the pathway for those to kind of you know, build on top of and succeed, and just make life easier for everyone else. And we're just fulfilling that responsibility essentially.
Going back to your first event, it sold out immediately. Can you like tell us more about what happened on that event itself, right? Because it's like the first event you organized, so it's like a bit scary to do also. What made you to do multiple events worldwide after that one? Because it's always starts with the first one, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, yeah, you're right. So the first event, I remember the name, it was called Startup Stories. So we wanted to kind of have like, we wanted to host an event every quarter. So that event was focusing on other Somalis who have built businesses or have, are entrepreneurs. And we wanted to kind of get them in and tell their, share their journey, share their, the pathways to their success, right? So we had a few amazing Somali entrepreneurs, who built businesses, got investment, and we wanted to kind of, showcase that to the community to be like, hey, listen, this is your people, they look what they're doing and you can do it too, right? Yeah. So just to kind of encourage them and yeah, like organizing that event, we were really excited. The panel, they were super excited. They were like, yep, we're down. Getting the venue, we worked with an amazing organization called IDEEN. There was a lovely lady called Sophie who we work with up until now, who helped us, secure the location and catering, everything. And yeah, it was just like really smooth. And that's something unique, I think, to the tech community, because the tech community, they're very giving. There's like the open source community, all the software that you see big companies use, a lot of it is like free, like the libraries and things like that. So everyone's like kind of giving, and that's like the culture that we have. So we thought, okay, that's perfect. Like the tech community, the Somali community, we're one as well, right? So it kind of aligned perfectly. So we just grew from that, and then after lockdown, everyone was on again survival mode, just trying to survive COVID, and subhanallah, our community got affected by COVID pretty badly. We had loads of deaths. We had some deaths in my family as well. So yeah, and what we did was, okay, after that initial phase, we started to host events. So one of the first virtual webinars that we did was called, let me remember, non-technical roles in tech, right? Because when you hear technology, you straight away think software engineer, coding. Yeah. No, it's way more than that, So we wanted to kind of showcase the different types of roles within tech. And we had an amazing panel. They spoke, and we had really large engagement from the community. They enjoyed it, and then it just became catering to the community. They would ask us, we're interested in this, and we would kind of align the next event towards what the community fed back. And we just one event at a time. And we hosted our first hackathon during COVID as well. And the problem that we were trying to solve was COVID. Like, how can we leverage tech? How can we use tech to help our community, with the theme of, addressing, the issues in and around COVID, and people applied from all over the world, Somali and non-Somali. And they we had like a demo day. It was incredible. So it's.
And do you remember any good ideas that came from there that should be applied?
Yeah, well, there was one incredible idea, and this is to do with inclusion as well. So one group, they created an app that allows Somali people in hospitals who are in intensive cares to communicate with doctors. So you have that translation barrier, right? So they created an app that would translate Somali into English with a simple user interface. It had the BBC Somalia jingle as well. I don't know if you guys know it. It's such a beautiful jingle, and then you would kind of describe where the pain is, the intensity of the pain, and it will translate it in English. And something like that is, you don't think about it sometimes, but during COVID, your family isn't there to translate for you. So something like this would help, right? And it's all about understanding our problem and solving it. It's like literally for us, by us. So we know our problems and we have the skills to kind of solve those problems. And that was an example that really stuck in my head.
Yeah. And what kind of other examples came out of the event itself? It doesn't have to be an app, but like, what do you hear in terms of like feedback or reactions?
Absolutely. So until now, it really shocks me. A lot of people off the back of our hackathons built so much confidence, and quite a few people have landed their first role in software as a result of, talking about the hackathon that they took part in, because a hackathon is like a 2-day or 3-day intensive event where you kind of have a team. You have software engineers, you have designers, you have product managers. Everyone's kind of coming together to solve a problem, right? So it's incredible how much can get done in such a short amount of time. And yeah, they showcased that, and a few people were able to get jobs off the back of just participating in this event. And it was such an honor for us to kind of hear that. I was like, oh, subhanAllah, yeah, and that's incredible,
Yeah.
Being accountable for the community.
Absolutely. And I think that's what we're doubling down on as well, where a lot of people describe us as like, as you said, like a catapult or springboard for the community and other communities as well. And when you're moving like 1,000 miles an hour, sometimes it's really difficult to pause and look back and be like, subhanAllah, actually it's people are really benefiting from this, but slowly we're getting better at that. But I love this. I love our community really like embracing their Somaliness and their greatness and genuinely like growing and helping other people grow. That is why we're here, That's why we're here.
What happens when people embrace their Somaliness? Because being Somali wasn't as cool, because most of the time it was associated with drama, right? How did you experience that?
Yeah, no, there was a time where Somali, like on the newspaper, you hear it. There's always drama, whether it's pirates, whether it's like war, and that is heartbreaking. It is a part of our reality, but that's not our only reality. We are entrepreneurial. We are incredible. We have a beautiful, rich history. Our culture is like the stories that we hear, like from our parents or whatever. Yeah. It just makes you like, that's me. And I think it's very important for us to kind of embrace that and celebrate that and learn that. Know who you are. We have multiple identities, but one of our core identities, we're Muslim, we're Somali as well, right? So, and once you know yourself, you love yourself more, you love your other people. And here in the UK, like growing up, when you see another Somali, like it's automatic love, right? You see it and then you're like, yeah, auntie, yeah, assalamu alaikum, like you would help them, right? What is that, right? That's part of our DNA. And you hear stories, for example, someone would travel from the north of Somalia all the way to the south of Somalia with nothing but the clothes on their back. And every, way along that journey, someone would kind of, welcome them in. They would stay for a couple of days. They treat them like their own, right? And then they would go off on their journey. Yeah, that's the kind of, that's the spirit that that I heard growing up, right? I'm like, yeah, that's us. That's our people,
And that's something you were trying and you already did translate that to in Somali tech.
Absolutely.
Being that person that can connect to corporations, businesses, and try to link softwares and all the tech specialists to other corporations, etc. You are actually doing what the story explained that to us right
Absolutely. Now. And that's just like because that's, I think, within our nature, right? It's in this life. I always tell my children, a lot of people like, oh, what are you going to be when you're older? I'm like, look, you don't need to stress about that, but hold to your principles, like have strong principles. And among those principles is like, whatever you do in life, make sure you're bettering society, right? Better your people, better yourself. And it's like the circle of influence, right? Start with yourself, of course. You have to, take care of yourself, love yourself. And then your immediate family, there's no point of you trying to save the world, but you're not taking care of your mother, you're not taking care of your wife or your children, whatever. You start from home, right? And then your local community, and then grow. That circle of influence is very important. So it's and we try to do that. We try to do that and enforce that within our family. My family has to benefit first, and my local community. I'm always representing Camden, and then UK, but now globally, subhanAllah. So, and we've got, an amazing team who are excited every time, and we encourage everyone to kind of get involved. It's not just there is, like, right now we're going to put in place a real clear process for you to kind of own it and create your own community. But right now, people just come, they have their ideas, like, we want to do this. We're like, Bismillah, yes, we'll support you. And now we have a bit of finance. We'll help you, acquire, a location. We'll pay for catering. You want to do workshops, work with other local organizations, guys. So another thing which is a little bit annoying, which is sometimes people want to save the world, but they don't look around and see who's doing something that's close to what they're doing. And instead they want to be like the savior. No, like, find out who's doing amazing work as well and help them, support them, right? If there's any gaps or whatever that you identify, then yes, then cater, but really amplify those who are doing great work, and support them and build with them,
Yeah, someone else already doing the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
So just
Support.
join in the movement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And own it,
I really like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The same applies to Somaliland or Somalia, right? Because most people want to start like a water foundation or a school or whatever, but someone else is already doing it, did the hard work, and it makes more impact to help them than to try to start something from the scratch, right?
Absolutely. Definitely support. Obviously, like in commercial world, competition is really good. Like you don't want monopolies, right? That destroys creativity and everything. You want a vast amount of people doing similar things or in different ways, so that the quality can get better. But when it comes to like doing good, help those who are doing good, support them, amplify them, right, and join them, right. And if there's other opportunities, you share your ideas. If, for example, there's opportunity for you to kind of create something new, absolutely do it, right. So that's my personal philosophy.
Yeah. One thing I really like is that you don't only do events or inspire people, but you actually make cool platforms that benefit the Somali community. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So to give you an example of that, we've built a platform called Awi. So this is a mentorship platform, and that came off the back of requests from the community. So a lot of the people who join our community, we capture what they would like from the community or being a part of the community, and we hear mentorship a lot. So previously what we were doing is, manually matching people together. So if someone's like a designer, we would match them with a designer who has lots of experience. But that doesn't scale. We have like 4,500 people. It's we can't do that, right? Yeah. So we built a platform called Awi, where we have like a pool of mentors that you can kind of reach out to, book a meeting with, and basically talk to, right? And yeah, it's been going pretty well. It's growing. We need more mentors. So and it's not just technology. That I probably should mention that. So it's for all types of fields, all industries. We have people in healthcare. We have people who are lawyers. We have cybersecurity professional. So we have a vast amount of people on there. So, and obviously as more people join, like it's going to be, the quality is going to improve. And right now we're going to get the community to kind of maintain it as well. So if they want to build out new features on the Awi platform, they can do, this is something that we built for us, and it's by us. So it's like, it's for the community, and it's
not pushing down, but you are actually co-creating
the
whole platform.
Exactly.
MashaAllah. This is very inspiring to hear. Like, I work with a lot of kids, and that's one thing that they always ask me, like, well, I want to go into this field, or I want to go to that field. And then I say, go on LinkedIn, just search what you need and ask that person if that aligns with what you have as a career path. Having a platform like this will benefit a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of young professionals. That's a very good idea, mashallah.
Yeah.
What makes mentorship so important?
Oh, it's important because you have that guidance system, right? Mentorship doesn't mean you're going to be spoon-fed everything. You have to kind of you have to do the legwork, right? But you have someone to kind of lean on, someone to kind of guide you in certain areas. You can kind of share your thoughts with them and they can give you advice, right? So in this life, like nothing is given to you, so you have to make the most out of everything. Nothing's owed to you as well. So the fact that you're going seeking out a mentor, respect that they are giving you, their time. So I think what's it called? It's incredibly important. I had mentors, growing up, so and even now I keep in contact with them. Whenever I have like an idea or whatever, I'll just ask them, hey, how you doing? I've got this situation or whatever. What are your thoughts? How would you deal with it? And they're supportive. It's very important for us to kind of build those relationships to elevate, and then and everyone can kind of be a mentor. You don't have to be like 20 years into a career or whatever. And mentorship, it isn't just, dunya. It can be akhirah as well, We've got our imams or the mashayikh or whatever. You can go and ask for some guidance or whatever. So it's extremely important.
MashaAllah. Talking more about family, right? You're obviously a father. What are lessons or values or principles from being Somali that you try to teach him in a world that's like in the West, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think first and foremost, our values are, alhamdulillah, closely aligned with Islam. So it's Islamic principles, right? Honesty, cleanliness, trustworthiness, ihsan in the things that you do. So if you're gonna do something, do it to the best, right? In dunya and akhirah. So these are the qualities that really made Islam flourish, and I think that's also why Somali people are so cool as well, because our foundation is built off of our deen as well. And Somali Nimo it's something that is extremely important, right? We are a very proud nation. We're very proud, right? To the point sometimes it's toxic. But you know what? I ain't complaining, right? And having that pride is such a flex, and it's knowing your identity is very important. Like even when it comes to tribalism, yes, what's it called? There's negative connotations to it, but Ilahi subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا, right? We have made you of tribes and nations so that you could know one another. And that's literally what you should use it for. Like if I know your tribe, like, yeah, you're that tribe, oh, that's amazing, man, you man do this and that, in a positive way, so that you can, and not in a negative way, like us versus them. That is disgusting. And it's very important to kind of know who you are. Us as Somalis, we have up to this. Like you can kind of recall your father's name, your grandfather, your great grandfather. Like that's incredible, right? Yeah. And things like that, it just kind of boosts your morale as you traverse this earth, and I think it's very important for people to really know who they are, learn about our culture, and this is the thing that I try to do with my children as well. We have a culture of like proverbs, mahmas, right? That's like some mahmas are like straight to the heart. It's like wow, like this encompasses so much in just a few words. So it's incredible. So a lot of us who my Somali is okay, right? My children's, yeah, they're fish and chips. They don't know. They don't know. But I try to kind of, the few mamas that I know, I try to kind of use it in the day to day,
What's your favorite?
My favorite, one of my favorite mamas is farkeliya fol madaqdo, right? And it which means like you can't wash your face with just a finger. You need your whole, you need your whole hand to kind of wash your face, and that's representative of the community that we're building, right? You can't do things on your own. You need a community most of the time. So, and one of the other favorites is Aqan La'an wa Iftin La'an, which we have on pretty much all our slides, and that is like the importance of knowledge. So the absence of knowledge is the absence of light, without a doubt. So if you're in a dark room, for example, and all you have is just like one little candle, that will guide you. That will guide you. So it doesn't matter what it is that you learn or what you double down on. Learn something and get good at it. Aqante is power. It will take you out of the darkness, and this is one thing that we encourage everyone. Just learn. Get good at whatever it is. Double down on it. Yeah.
So, looking at building Somalis in tech, what are big setbacks that you were like, I want to stop now?
Alhamdulillah, I haven't had. Well, I guess the sheer amount of admin work. And again, one thing that I really don't like is administrative stuff. Like how just now we had to do our accounts and write reports and things like that, which is really daunting sometimes. So that's the only thing that I really don't like doing. But honestly, it's so fun. So I have my normal 9 to 5 work, but then this is where I get fulfillment. Because you're doing something beyond you, right? You're trying to kind of plant seeds, or for trees to grow that you might not even see. We don't know the ripple effect of the work that we do. We just do it, and hope for the best, and get people who are like-minded. So far, nothing to make me cry.
So there's a lot of people that are having a 9 to 5 and trying to build something on the side. You're a father, a husband, son, whatever, right? You have a 9 to 5, you have hobbies. How do you balance them all? And then having like Somalis in tech.
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's a challenge sometimes. So like at the beginning, like if you're trying to do everything all at once, yes, it's crazy. You need to find that balance, and you need to kind of know where your boundaries are, and prioritization is very important, so you should be able to, like, if all your calls, drop everything. If you're sick, if your kids are sick, nothing else matters in life, right? If your wife needs anything, that's very important. So that balance is very important, but it can be done. I don't believe in a soft life. A lot of people, they want that soft life and chill out. That's not me personally. So I don't know. Is it ADHD or something? I need to be doing something. So and that's, I guess, the way I've kind of, I find comfort when I've got loads of things to do. But sometimes if it's overwhelming, I do take breaks. It's very important to kind of have a break, and like, for example, I'm off now until next year. I'm taking a big break from work. But there's a lot of some things lined up for Somalis in Tech for 2025. So I'm getting that in order right now. So I'm on break, but it's not a real break.
Yeah, that's important. Like for entrepreneurs, that's a hard balance to find.
It is.
A lot of entrepreneurs just like tunnel vision, continue working, and then they don't usually take breaks.
Been there.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like very important to have systems in place to like make sure that like what's the reason that you are working so hard. A lot of people just forget that and just focus on the money or the status they are getting. Talking about status, Dubai is a hot thing right now, and you have done an event there. How was that? Can you talk about how the Somalis in Dubai are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not lucky enough to have gone to any of the events. So we've hosted 2 events in
Inshallah.
No, more than 2 events. So we've had 2 events and quite a lot of meetups in Dubai. Both events were in Microsoft, which is incredible. And there was like a meetup, buffet, everything. I was jealous. I was like, oh man, I need to, fly out there or something. And we have another event coming up right now. And again, this is like a testament to the community. Like, they are literally doing everything. They own it. They wherever we can support, we support. So for example, creating, maybe the socials or whatever on the social media posts or whatever. That's it. Everything else, the logistics, they take full ownership. Wow. So shout out to the team over in Dubai, Ali, Mohammed Qali, but everyone over there, incredible. And they have kind of set a blueprint for other, regions to kind of imitate. And we've hosted an event recently in Dallas, I think a couple of weeks ago, was it Ohio? I can't remember. And off the back of that event, 3 people got high paying jobs, which I was like, what? It's crazy. All you got to do is just show up, just do things and leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just show up and cater, and you don't know what impact you're having on other people's lives. So Yeah, Dubai is definitely hot. And I think we need to go to Australia now because it's hot there as well. We need to go to New Zealand. We need to go to South Africa. We need to go. We're in Scandinavia. We need to come to Netherlands.
You should
You
come. Like that's a
Netherlands 2025.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, we'll arrange everything. So inshallah. So what about Hargeisa or Mogadishu?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing that we've done, so we've hosted one of our events during lockdown, Tech Back Home. And we were showcasing the amazing work happening back home. So we had people from Hargeisa, we had people from Mogadishu, like entrepreneurs showcasing, you know, the product, the things that they're doing, you know. So we had one brother who had a company called Bihi. So it was like an integration service for all the hawala. So it was like Stripe, but for hawala, which is crazy.
Very smart.
So we basically focused the light on, you know, people doing amazing work back home. So there was another organization called Fikir Camp, and they do like boot camps in Hargeisa, and they're doing the legwork. There's another one in Hamar, I think it's called iRise, for example. They're doing amazing work. So we like to kind of shine the light on the organization that are really doing amazing things. But now what we're hopefully inshallah going to do is have representatives back home as well, so we can do events, you know. We're here, right? We need people who are, you know, willing to see the vision, that want to kind of own and lead on this thing, you know, that can create those relationships with people on the ground back home. Those are the type of people we need.
One thing I like about your concept is you are not trying to do everything yourself, so you are actually stepping away for the right people to shine. And that's like I think that's the biggest force of the Somalis in tech, which we could learn a lot from because we are mostly focusing on entrepreneurs. So it's like I see that sometimes we try to do everything by ourselves, but as soon as we tap into the community, like we get the right guests on the podcast, we get the right studio, right? So it's like something we forgot in the West, of being the independent guys, like just tap into your community and, like you said, just show up on an event and miracles could happen, inshallah. So,
Absolutely, literally. And I think that's, again, it's a result of kind of the Western mentality, as you kind of said. Like, we have this concept of it takes a village to raise a kid, right? It's not just it's the whole community. If you go and do something bad, you know, you have reports back home already, you know. Like growing up here in the UK, it was really frustrating, you know. When you're Dalanyara, you're gonna get up to no good sometimes, right? And when we see auntie, we're like, you know, by the time we get home, Hoy has already been debriefed. So it's very important to kind of tap into your community and you know, tap into other people's strengths, you know. So definitely we encourage that.
Let's say someone's looking at this and want to get into tech. How would you advise them to go about? Is it like doing the school first, or finding a mentor, or what would you do?
It's very hard. We get that question a lot, and to be honest, it depends on what the person really wants. And yes, it's very hard to kind of know what they want to do. First, I would kind of tap into, you know, do a lot of research, see the different roles out there. We have like a resource guide to help people, you know the different types of roles that exist within tech and the type of strengths. Like if you have this particular strength, you know, this might be good for you, for example. So reading through that, understanding where your strengths lie, knowing that nothing in life is easy. You have to also work hard, understanding what the requirements are. For some roles, you don't need to go university. It may help, but really understanding that is what I would kind of encourage people to kind of do. Don't wait for someone to kind of spoon feed you all the information. Go search, you know, check it out. Check out all the, you know, guides that exist. And yeah.
What are 4 big spaces in tech which will dominate the next 10 years, so people can maybe already make it easier for themselves.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. 10 years is a long time. Things move so fast in technology. It is crazy. So right now, I'm sure you're aware of this thing called AI. It's everywhere,
A little bit.
right? So that has kind of, with the introduction of like ChatGPT, where it really showcased the power of generative AI. It kind of opened up Pandora's box for all of these new startups to kind of be born, and they're solving problems. So now AI can be used, to solve so many mundane tasks. I currently work in an AI startup, so it's incredible how it can make your life so much easier. But it's okay. I'm gonna come back to that point. So so number one, I would definitely say being in and around, leveraging this new technology. We had the .com boom, in the early 2000s, and then we had the smartphone boom in around 2007. Right now, we're in the AI boom. This is a new phase, and it's I don't know the number, but I'm sure it's like trillions of dollar industry. So I would definitely say, okay, explore it. Dip your toe in, have a look. Right, data. With AI, with using all of this technology, data has never been, so important. So anything in and around data, machine learning, if you want to kind of, and telling stories with data. So drawing insight from the raw noisy data and making it really easy to dissect and understand the value of what's happening. If you've got that skill, mashallah, I that's what I would focus on. The other thing is the human interaction. So yes, technology is great. We've got screens in front of us, but I would say, find out ways where, you can kind of use the human experience. We want podcasts. This is very human, right? What can you do? What creative things can you do that would require, face-to-face interactions? A lot of us are kind of sick and tired of, the digital interface. What innovative things can you do to bridge that gap between the human interaction and the digital interaction? That's what I would focus on, especially with all this AI stuff. We're going to be giving, robots all the jobs soon. So figure out ways to be creative and focus on the human aspect, and
figure out being more Somali.
And being more Somali, absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Literally.
Community storytelling.
Exactly. And I don't know, lastly, I don't know, it's a hard one. 10 years is a long time, but regardless, I would always encourage people to bet on yourself, right? You are on this earth just once, right? So make sure you're leveling up your character with knowledge, with skills. Do it to kind of be a better version of yourself. Every year you need to be improving, and that journey, happiness lies in the journey. So enjoy the journey. That's definitely one thing that I would encourage people to do.
MashaAllah. And you talking about you work for an AI startup?
Correct, yeah.
What do you do exactly?
Yes, so I currently work at an AI startup called Pop AI. So we basically we have a platform, we have a product that makes recruitment, super easy for, recruitment companies. So let's say, for example, you apply for a job. Right now, you would probably interact with this thing called an application tracking system. So as soon as you apply to that job, it gets tracked. So a recruiter will go and then review your CV, would probably have to go and call you and screen you, and then afterwards progress you to an interview stage, and that you can imagine if there's one role, that one role could have thousands of people applying. How are you going to kind of sift through all of those people? So our product will come along and kind of make that process a lot easier by doing some analysis on the CV and kind of ranking them based on the job description. And we will also kind of reach out to candidates at scale. So do screening conversations, be like, hey, thank you for applying for that job. Can we ask you a few questions? And that allows you to kind of speed up the screening process so that you can get to, you know, like the interview stage and things like that. So this is like one of the use cases our clients really love our product for. So we've been able to save them like days, you know, of working hours just off the back of leveraging Pop AI.
Wow, yeah.
So
before you continue, how can I, if let's say if I am someone that wants to get into tech, get the job, right? How can I appeal more to the AI that's doing all the
all the
scraping?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I think a lot of people are have kind of understood what happens behind the scenes. So normally a CV would be kind of ranked against a job description. So for example, let's say it's for a software engineer role, right? The job description will have a bunch of, you know, requirements mentioned. So a lot of people, what they've been doing is just like taking that job description and then saying, hey, this is my current CV, make it, you know, relevant to this job description. That will get you ranked high on you know, the scoring system. But a lot of people realize that that's and the recruitment companies are realizing as well, like CVs aren't as good as they used to be because everyone can just generate things, right? So the personal touch, I would say, is very important. So obviously make sure you tailor your CV to whatever you're applying for. If you're applying for, you know, a technical role, you know, really emphasize on the skills that you've demonstrated in your, you know, previous jobs, you know, the skills that you have, your leadership skill, all that kind of like really represent, make it, don't rely on AI because some application systems will be like, yeah, this is generated, skip it, right? So use AI to, as a guide for drafting something and then just tweak it yourself. The other thing I would definitely say is, once you're in the most important part is like the interview stage, right? Like the CV stage is annoying, but the interview stage is very important. And one thing I would definitely say is like be confident. Like you have to kind of be confident when you're kind of in an interview. Talk with oomph. Really talk about, you know, the problems that you've solved. It depends on the role. Like I've interviewed quite a lot of people, and this is the kind of stuff that I look for, like confidence in their responses. Usually this is for technical roles. So competence. You can't bullshit. Oh, sorry for swearing.
No.
You can't you know, lie in the interview. Especially if you've got like really technical people, they'll see through all your lies, right? And if you've listed that you've done this, you started Facebook and you did like, you know.
But you know what? One problem I see a lot of is imposter syndrome, because
especially into the Somali sisters.
So I'm not Somali community in general. I think also what you see a lot
sisters.
What you see a lot is like they are very good at what they do, but maybe have like 2 or 3 year experience, but don't actually have that confidence. You just are talking about the oomph. How can you train that, or how can you get over that syndrome?
You have to take the risk. You just have to take the risk. Honestly, don't let the imposter syndrome take over. It's just a feeling, right? One thing about imposter syndrome, like one cure for it is competence. So with competence comes confidence. It's like a cycle, right? So, and if you've got imposter syndrome, that's great. Like that means there's areas for you to kind of fill. So fill them, right? Fill them and know your limitations. Really don't just like be disheartened and stop. Take the risk, know your strengths in interviews or whatever. Double down on your strengths. If there are growth areas, identify them and be honest. Be honest with yourself, be honest with the recruit. Don't say that you're gonna do everything. Like know the areas that you can kind of improve, but don't let imposter syndrome stop you from applying to that dream job or whatever. Like really just park it to the side and just go.
But like okay, let's say in a real world scenario that there's an application and there's like they ask you for 6 year experience and you have to do XYZ, but you only are good at X but you don't know YZ. a lot of people just don't apply for that job.
That's right. And you mentioned like women in general. Yes, they will kind of see if they tick every single box, whereas a dude will be like, oh yeah, all right, bet, I'm gonna try, right?
1%, let's go.
Exactly.
I have that one.
So I will definitely say, look, with job descriptions, you don't need to kind of take everything there as gospel. Still apply. Bring your best self. Be confident, because ultimately later on, at the interview stage, you're going to be talking to another human, right? So make sure you're presentable. Make sure you're, you can demonstrate that you're someone that's easy to work with, and just apply. Don't let the job description scare you.
But what happens if you lack that competence then?
Get the competence. I would definitely say, so if you're applying for a doctor role, but
I know that's too huge.
You need to kind of be real as well. So but let's say, for example, you're a mid-level engineer, and then there's a senior engineer title, and titles vary with every job as well, right? But you feel like you read through the job description and you like the company, and you're like, oh, you know what, I really want to apply for this place. Apply and show that confidence. You might not be able to get. Maybe you might not get the senior role. You might get the software engineer role, but it's at a company where you've identified that you want to be at. So it's still a win, right? And then grow and then keep growing. Go back to the drawing board if you don't get it, and then apply it somewhere else. It's fine.
Mashallah, like that's very beneficial, because that's something I see a lot. Guled probably also sees that a lot. That I think it's just something that we have to overcome as a society, as a community, especially, that we are there, we are competent, we are creative, we are good at what we do, and we should showcase that.
Absolutely, walk with that head up high. Obviously, don't like back it up. So don't be an imposter. Like, you can have imposter syndrome, right? But then don't lie on your CV. Don't do any of that kind of stuff. It goes back to the ihsan, right? So this is one thing that I tell people as well. Focus on your craft, right? Focus on your craft. Double down on your craft, and opportunities will come your way. Like that, I firmly believe that, and you'll be able to kind of navigate, roles as you wish, right? If they align with your morals or your values or whatever, because you have the competence and you've focused on your skill set, you now can really talk the talk and walk the walk. I would rather have people who are qualified, or than people who are ambitious and be like, risk takers, but they won't put in the work, right? Put in the work, put the work in, be the best at whatever it is that you do. You're going to be a doctor, be the best doctor. You're going to be an artist, be the best artist. You're going to be in entertainment, be the best. Get some BAFTAs, get some Oscars, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, be the best at it, and
one thing they don't realize is to become the best. They think like, if I do my university and do that, then it's enough. Right?
Oh, no.
But the people that are the best in their craft learn 80, 90, even 95% of everything they do outside of uni, outside of the things that they're supposed to be doing, outside of their job, right? It's the hours you put in outside everything you normally should do, and everyone is doing. And I feel like we are in a stage where it's not as hard to become better than most people, because most people just stick with the normal road, right? So if you just do a little bit more work, you're already better.
100%. So you have the 9 to 5, and then you have the 5 to 9, right? So it's very important to, just level up and enjoy the journey again, right? But at the same time, it's okay. Some jobs, you might not need to level up, which is also fine. If you want that soft life, enjoy it. But then, if, for example, being super successful was easy, everyone would be super successful. It's not. So you got to kind of know the recipe that, that made so-and-so so great. Like, what are the traits that made, this individual so amazing, right? Okay, so I need to adopt those kind of things. So learn from other people, listen, and continue to grow.
Mashallah. Brother, I see that is already nearly an hour past for the podcast.
Oh wow.
I have one final question.
Yeah.
If there's one advice you would love to give the listeners of this podcast, what one advice would you give?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would also so one advice I would say is like in the sight it's a very grim one, right? In the sight of death, right? Nothing is important, like all your stresses and everything, like nothing matters, right? If you know you're gonna meet your maker, you know what you're essentially coming with. Live life as if you're gonna meet your maker, so make the most of it. Do things correctly, do things well, do things with ihsan, you know, love your family, love your, you know, and bring your best self all the time, and don't forget your deen and your daqan, never.
Amazing.
Brother.
And I have like one more question, right? First of all, the advice you're giving, right? I most of the time do that, like, so before an important moment that I'm like nervous about, I'm like think about the death of me dying today, right?
It's grim.
And yeah, exactly. And it helps me to like put it in perspective.
Yeah.
And I gave this advice to my little sister, right?
Yeah.
And she got a panic attack. So I thought it would work. So maybe it won't work for everyone.
I
but
know it won't
like,
work for everyone. I know, but it's the only inevitable thing, right?
So
what's next for Somali Tech? How can people like join the movement? What's coming next year?
Yeah, good question. So we've got a jam-packed 2025. So we really want to double down on workshops and skill-based workshops. So we're still going to be continuing our events, but we want to kind of cater to, you know, specific audiences. So let's say, for example, someone's a software engineer and they want to learn how to build scalable systems with confidence. We'll have a workshop for that. You know, if we're hopefully, inshallah, going to have an event at Canva. Everyone knows Canva, right? So we might do like a design event. We're planning on doing a design event at Canva. So it's going to be more workshop oriented.
Wow.
That's one aspect. Yeah. The other thing that we want to really do is kind of bring, and this is off the back of feedback, bring, you know, Somali businesses together, right? And they need to kind of support budding entrepreneurs. Right now, if you've got a startup or whatever, how are you gonna, you got your VC routes where you go to venture capitalists to get funding, but how do we kind of tap into the Somali business owners around the world and, you know, get them to kind of think about, hey, you know what, there's this opportunity here, we can pull some money together and invest. So we're trying to kind of create an ecosystem where Somalis can really build, you know, each other economically. So we're going to be focusing on building out, you know, ways of doing that. We're also thinking about creating this is like an exclusive. So we're trying to build like a community pot where everyone can kind of contribute towards. It's going to be like a charity type thing, but yet they will have like voting rights to, you know, support this, you know, cause or this business or whatever, you know. So it'll be like a collection of people, you know, working together, contributing together, and they will be able to, you know, support, you know, new startups with, you know, a grant or whatever. So these are we're really focusing on impact, you know, like at scale and economy. Like that's our main focus, and also, you know, broadening the team. So if you're interested and you want to get involved, please do get in contact. Yeah, we need you.
No, we add all the details, inshallah, in this podcast. Everything of Somali in tech. Again, very inspirational what you've just said on this podcast, brother. Well, thank you for your time. And we will definitely come to one of your events.
Yeah. And we'll come to Netherlands.
You have to come to Netherlands. Inshallah. So, brother, thank you. And we'll see you soon, inshallah.
Thank you.
Inshallah.